Forces and attention toward the destruction and even annihilation.
I'm not Mr. Blueanon, but he is not looking good today, okay? I am not Mr. Health complications are imminent. You guys know this. I try to shy away from that sort of commentary, but he is looking like a man who is on 1 HP here. I haven't seen him this bad in a minute.
So clearly,
and it's early in the day, too, which makes it harder. He is hitting Brandonization levels that I haven't seen thus far.
if we can get this difficult problem solved, the opportunities for all within that vast region of this world, it's a vast region, it's unlimited. The Abraham Accords show that all countries are better off when they communicate and work together and embrace new opportunities. I hope Jared and Steve and Susie and Marco and JD, we have great people. I hope you guys are going to work very hard to get these other countries in, because now they have no excuse. There's no longer an excuse. They were somewhere hesitant. And I tell you, the 4 countries that went in, I give them tremendous credit, and it's worked out incredibly well for them. In the same spirit, I'm pleased to report that earlier today, we took another important step toward greater understanding in the region. A short time ago, we had a historic phone call in the Oval Office with Prime Minister Tani, did by the Palestinian people. Israel withdrew from Gaza thinking they would live in peace. Remember that a long time ago, they withdrew. They said, you take it. This is our contribution to peace. But that didn't work out. That didn't work out. It was the opposite of peace. They pulled away. They let them have it. And I never forgot that, because I said, that doesn't sound like a good deal to me. As a real estate person, I mean, they gave up the ocean, right? Ron, they gave up the ocean. They said, who would do this deal? And it still didn't work out. They were very generous, actually. And they gave up the most magnificent piece of land in many ways in the Middle East. And they said, all we want to do now is have peace. And that request was not honored. Instead of building a better life for the Palestinians, Hamas
low energy
resources to build over.
You guys are saying it's low energy, but what you fail to consider is that you guys are saying it's low energy, but you fail to consider that, like, sucking Benjamin Netanyahu's penis for as long as he did and as hard as he did takes a lot out of a man, especially if he's like using both hands, paying extra attention to the shaft and balls, the asshole too. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, you know, he might have even used his feet if we're keeping it at $150. So it's gonna require a lot of energy, and you know he has a finite amount in his battery. So that's probably what it is.
I challenge the Palestinians to take responsibility for their destiny.
My mom is listening. Well, your mom probably also knows that Donald Trump was eating Benjamin Netanyahu's ass earlier before he got up on that stage.
To a brighter future. They don't want the life that they've had. They've had a rough life with Hamas. If the Palestinian Authority does not complete the reforms that I laid out in my vision for peace in 2020, they'll have only themselves to blame. We're giving them an amazing footprint.
This, you have our full backing to do what you need to do.
Leaders of the Arab world and the Muslim world, the great leaders. These are great leaders. These are unbelievable leaders that have built great countries and very wealthy countries. What the future holds for the Palestinians, no one really knows. Focused on ending the war immediately, getting all of our hostages back, getting everything back. Hard to believe when you even say it. And creating conditions for durable Israeli security and Palestinian success. Israeli security is going to be involved. We're going to help you. We'll be there with you in terms of helping with security. We want to make sure it works. We just want to make sure it works. There shouldn't be a shot fired. Now, there will be, I guess, because that's the way it seems to be, but they shouldn't have to be within a few days. There shouldn't have to be a shot fired. Maybe for eternity. Wouldn't that be nice? I hope it's true. I can tell you the leadership of that region feels that there's a good chance of it being true. So this will lead to this agreement that we're talking about will lead to a sustainable long-term peace. No president in history has been a greater friend of the state of Israel than I have, in addition to negotiating the
he ain't wrong.
Abraham
He ain't
Accords.
wrong.
I like to say it that way
He
because
is a great friend of
real people, that's what they
Israel.
call Abraham. I would say Abraham, but it's so much nicer when you say Abraham.
What?
So much more elegant.
So fucking stupid.
But
yeah,
the
Trump plan for
Abraham
Gaza
Accords are
includes the
amazing.
transitional
Jared,
border
you
peace that
did
would be headed
along
by
with your
President
group
Donald
of
J. Trump.
Geniuses. And nobody thought that could be done. We have 4 countries, and
God, he's
Sleepy Joe
so-
Biden didn't do a thing. He didn't even know
We're
what the
led
hell
by
they were.
madmen who are
He should have had
incredibly
them pulled up,
stupid
but I
and
think this
incredibly
will also
violent
lead
and
to
incredibly vile.
packing them. And who knows, maybe even Iran can get in there. I hope, we hope we're going to be able to get along with Iran. I think they're going to be open to it. I really believe that. But they could be a member. I long ago said, I'll bet you at some point Iran will be a member of the Accords. And little did I realize it was going to take this turn. That was some turn we did with the B-2s. But I think they might very well be there because it's a great thing for them economically. I recognize the eternal capital of Israel. I opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. That was something that everyone said would never be done, could never be done. Virtually every president for many, many years, for decades, would campaign on making Jerusalem the capital of Israel. They campaigned on it over and over. Is that right, Steve? Is that right? Everyone, and when they got to it, and I understand why now, because it was so. When I got to office, I campaigned on it too. I said, we're going to make it. And then I'd get calls from the leaders of various countries saying, please don't do it, please don't do it. It'll end the whole world, please don't do it. And finally, I just didn't say anything, and I did it. People were calling me before I did it because they heard I was going to do it, and leaders of countries were calling me, and I think it was on a Thursday that I did it, and they'd call me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3-4 times a day, and I said, tell them I'll call them back on Friday. And I announced it on Thursday, and I called them back, the biggest people in the world, and they said, you've done it. I said, what? You've made the capital
Bro, he
of
sounds dead.
Israel, Jerusalem, and we wanted to talk yet. I wish you called me a little sooner. Maybe I could have done something
This
about
is
it.
the most
So that was a
Brandonized
lot
he's ever
easier
been.
than
I
getting
wonder
into
if
an
it's
argument.
like I wonder if there's something
Because I
going
knew
on
what
with
they were
like
calling
how
about.
much
And
you
you know
dick
what? It
ride
turned out to
Israel.
be
Like
amazing.
when you're throwing your
Everybody
back out
thought it
on
was
that
gonna
on
lead
that
to
penis.
The end of
The
world,
more you
right?
go
The end of
hard
the
for
world,
Israel,
right? That's what they
the
said.
more your life energy is
Didn't
sucked
lead to
out of
anything.
you.
It just led to something that I promised and
This
something
is the
that was
most
very, very
Brandonized
popular
speech
for
that he's delivered in a while, dude.
Jewish people and a lot of other people too. I recognize Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, and I cut taxpayer funding to the corrupt United Nations Relief and Works Agency. And United
Like
Nations is interesting because,
he's trying to talk about his
as you
bona
know, a few days
fides
ago they
about how much
introduced
he's
me.
like
Ladies and gentlemen,
been pro-Israel
the President
here.
of the United States,
And
I'm
he's just
looking at
having
my
such a hard
teleprompter, and
time
the
coming
thing
up
was
with.
dead, stone
I mean,
cold.
he's having a hard time
dead.
explaining it.
The thing's up here. I have a long, beautiful speech to make. I'm back 30 feet back, and I'm saying, they're introducing me. There's nothing on my teleprompter. So, but I made a speech. I actually got good marks. You think Biden could have done that? I don't think so. I don't think he could have done that. I don't think too many people could have done it. But actually, it was actually more of a speech from my heart, if you want to know the truth. I think it was
Thanks for everything.
maybe better in certain
Have a
ways
good
because
one.
it was from the heart. It has to be from the heart. Otherwise, you're in big trouble. But I cut
It has to be from the heart,
taxpayer-
otherwise you're
payer
in big
funding
trouble.
for that very corrupt United Nations Relief and Works Agency, and nobody thought that would be done, and withdrew from the horrible Iran nuclear deal that was imposed upon Israel by Barack Hussein Obama and Biden. And I don't think Biden knew anything about it, though. I don't think he knows anything about it now, actually, if you ask him. He'd say, what is that? And we obliterated Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity, making it impossible for them to have a nuclear weapon, which they would have had probably in about 2 months.
JPK
from that.
Mets 31. Thank you for the 25.
But I've never
I see
asked
Valorant is still doing
Israel
it.
to compromise its security, but we had big, strong talk. Nobody's been better to Israel. No president's been better to Israel than Donald Trump. But we had a long, strong talk, Bibi and I, and he understands it's time. It's time. History has shown, and the people of Israel want it. And the people of the Middle East want it. The people of enemies of Israel want it, but they don't have really
Breaking Israeli
too
Prime
many
Minister
enemies
Benjamin
right
Netanyahu
now.
spoke on the phone with
And you
Prime
know
Minister
what?
Qatar Mohammed bin
Many
Abdulrahman Al
countries have
Thani
gained great
and
respect
apologized for
for
violating
Israel,
Qatari
for the way they
sovereignty in the
fight,
strike in
the
Doha and
job
expressed
they
regret
do.
for the killing of a Qatari security guard, per
Including
source
me,
familiar.
had respect anyway, but they gained respect.
Oh, God.
History has shown us that those who have relations with Israel have thrived, while those who have devoted resources